All right. So it says that we're on. So you tell me when you see it on your end.
Okay. Hmm. I'm like, I know I have internet. Okay, I see.
You see me? Okay, cool. All right. Hey,
Yeah.
everybody. Hey, we're here. Sorry it took us so long. I don't know why I'm having this set for 5. You know what? As of right, I'm probably going to end up changing our time to 5:30 just because by the time I'm done with work, which doesn't happen until 5 y'all's time, which is y'all are central, and then by the time I get off, I make myself pretty enough to blot away the shiny and then get with Michelle and then we set up. It takes like 30 minutes. So that's what tends to happen. So yeah, that's what's going on with our lives today. So hey everybody, we're here. We're here. So I'm still here. I'm not going. I'm not. I didn't trick y'all. Uh, so I'm still here. So Michelle and I are going to talk for a little bit, and then after that, I'll do y'all's readings. Y'all can just listen to us chat and talk and kai or kiki, and then do our thing, right? And then after that, y'all will get a chance to ask me whatever questions y'all want to ask me about. Y'all can start putting your questions in now if you want to, or you can just wait till I start reading because I'm going to bounce around anyways and go looking for them. So it doesn't matter. It's up to y'all. If y'all are following a longer conversation and you want to ask questions or you just have opinions or you want to just say something because you feel like saying something, feel free to do so, right? So, and if anybody comes in here who is not me, who is not Michelle, who is not Roxy in the chat, and they're asking y'all to message them because they want to give y'all a reading or because of this or that, those are trolls, y'all. I need y'all to report that person, that troll, and then I want you to block their asses or ban their asses because that's been happening a lot more in the last few weeks. And so you'll have someone that may message you, and it might be, Amaganda from, someplace up in the Philippines, or it might be somebody else, over in some other country. But it's usually someone that it's like, okay, what's going on? And then they will like message you and ask you to message them for a reading or just to message them. So be aware, there's a lot of them in here. Okay, don't get no reading from them. They're going to spam y'all. They're going to take your money. Do not come crying to Ferny that they took your money because I didn't send you to them. You sent yourself to them. So just FYI, TMI, PSI. So
PSI.
okay. All right, Mama. What's going on? How's your week going so far?
Okay, so it was pretty good. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it was like bad because of course that's just the flow.
Hmm.
But there was some tough going like yesterday. And it was so weird because like I got up and I was like, yes, Venus is Friday and it's love day. And then like we had like such choppiness in the house. Like Michaela was acting
Hmm.
wild. And then at the end of the day, I'm like going to look through my stuff and it's like all these different planetary movements with just Venus. So I'm like, no
Hmm.
shit. Like, of course we're all like, so,
Hmm.
but it was an all right day. I think that's just like all the time, like when people don't really realize that we're going to shift every time they shift around,
Hmm.
like they feel like, oh, my life is over. It gets so scary for me because if
Hmm.
you don't pay attention to that stuff, like remember we were talking, like I think it was the first time we recorded, that lady that said that she wanted to kill herself or something. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. My neighbor. Yeah, my neighbor.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys, if you just like calm down a little bit,
Hmm.
like it will totally pass
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah. I
So
think
yeah, it was an all right week though.
I totally like. I'm feeling that too, and I've been seeing more of that. Like, actually, I did an experiment. I was like, okay, look, I need to be informed, but I don't need to know what's going on every moment of every second of every day. And usually, when I start off my day watching the news, I get all like wound up over some of that, and so I'm like, so I for the last 3 days, I've intentionally not watched the news first thing in the morning. Instead, I was like, I'll just catch up after I'm done with work, and then later in the evening I can spend the day fuming or whatever. But I'll read it right instead of watching a news program because I don't. For two reasons. One, I don't. There's going to be a lot of crap going on from now until the end of the year. That's just going to be noise that has nothing to do with me and nothing to do with what I'm going to be doing. And even Edward and I were talking about this yesterday. He was like, look, anything that's on the news right now at this point is noise. I don't care what's the latest poll or what's the latest this, or I don't give a damn. Like, I already know what I'm doing. I know who I'm voting for. I don't need this noise. Like, I just don't care at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, and nothing that can happen is going to get us to change our ideas as far as what we're going to be deciding when we come November and we have to vote. So for me, I'm like, yeah, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. So I made it a point to not watch the news, and I've been instead reading and just reading other books, because normally I would read spiritual books, but there's only so
Yeah.
much spirituality you can take in a day before you get the shits, you know? So
Right.
I was like, I'm not reading spirituality first thing in the morning. I'm going to read something fun. So I have a lot of like UFO and alien books and, like secret, like UFO stuff. And so I love that stuff.
Mhm.
I love UFO. So we got to do a show on UFOs, because that's definitely one of
Yeah.
those things. But, so that's what I've been starting my day off with, is just reading a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then after that, I'm like, okay, it's time to get ready for work. But I mean, it's been nice. I do miss my news though. Like I do like watching the news, like, ooh, like what happened or this or that. Cause it's like gossip, and I like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, I feel like I'm bombarding myself. And it's just like, I'm just pissing myself off first thing in the morning. And I was like, nope, I don't want to carry this throughout the day. So I just need to,
Right.
yeah. Plus, if it's big enough,
I mean, because
someone's going to text me or someone's going to say, did you see what just happened or whatever? If it's
yeah,
big enough, right? So.
exactly. Like I never watch the news. So like that's why we like the hurricane was coming. I was like, oh really? Because I
Mm-hmm.
just don't like. I just try to keep myself
Mm-hmm.
out of it because I guess, and maybe as I started really kind of getting into my spiritual space, I was like, I want to see if I can tell if something's coming. You know what I mean? And so like I just don't watch the news because it gives me so much anxiety. Like I don't even participate in those Facebook arguments or anything like that because I'm like, I want to keep myself as close to my
Mm.
level as possible because I already know myself. If I take in too much of that, I'm gonna be like, "Ooh, that's
Mm-hmm.
not where I'm trying to go, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now The View is starting back up, I think, on Monday. So they start their season premiere. I love The View, and I love watching The View, and that'll be interesting. And it's funny because I love Whoopi. I actually love all of them. I love all of the Joy Behar. I love all of them. I love Megan McCain too.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I think she's a badass because she says whatever she's thinking. The only thing is that sometimes, for a while, she was acting like nobody cared. Like it's almost like she made herself out to be a little bit of a victim. Like, I'm the only
Yeah.
Republican. I'm like, girl, like, stop it. Like, I am agreeing with you. Like, what you're saying, I'm agreeing with that, and I ain't a Republican, but I'm agreeing with what you're saying, and that's a point, and that's a point that needs to be taken seriously. But then she'll go into like, but I'm the only one here, and nobody likes what I have to say. And I'm just like, girl, chill out with the bullshit. Like, you got a fan, it's okay. Now this year, because she's pregnant, she really wound up, and so she ain't even like trying to like roll it off in the back. Like she's just pissed all the time. So like, that was the girl.
Yeah.
Don't be pregnant often because you really pissed. Ever since you got pregnant, you just even more pissed off than usual. But I mean, I like Whoopi because I like Whoopi's. She brings. She makes me feel mothered in the show, and she brings like it's like a reality check. Like,
Yeah.
that's what she is.
Balance.
She's the reality check. She's the balance. She's like the mama hen. Like, okay, y'all, like, I'm gonna need y'all to stop. And she don't have no problem like getting in your face and telling you what she thinks when you're acting like a bitch. So it's like, listen, we ain't doing that today. This is not what we're doing. So
Right. And she's very even with it.
yeah,
Like she's not like she doesn't pick on one person. Like she doesn't pick on Megan.
no,
Like she just like stop.
yeah,
Like we're not gonna do this.
yeah,
We can do something else with our energy. Like
right.
I really respect that about her. I love Whoopi, and I really like The View too. Like that was
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I started Between Us Girls. I was like, y'all want to talk?
Yeah. Yeah.
know?
Well, that's what I wanted to do. Like, I had thought of an idea of bringing together like spiritual people and having a panel and doing that like once a month or something, where there were like
Yeah.
4 of us, and we would talk about stuff from like a spiritual perspective, but at the
Yeah.
same time not be so ethereal that we're talking about like, well, I don't know, but like the angle of this crystal, I don't really like. Who the fuck cares about the angle of your crystal? Like, I don't care about crystal angles. Like, talk to me about like, how that woman, like, talk to me about something else that I feel is more humanly connecting
Yeah.
than the angle of a crystal. Like, that's not important to me. I don't care.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you are more than welcome to take my little thing that I created and make it Ferny-ized. I will gift it to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We could, hey, we can do that. We can get together once a month and, kiki and do our thing,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we definitely can. So tell me some about that infinity
Mm.
that you posted.
Mm-hmm.
Where
That
you were asking
graphic.
about. to eat. Yes.
Yeah, the graphic. So, like a few days ago, I posted this picture on Instagram because I'm always, whenever I'm in that zone, like sometimes I'll be hanging out and doing whatever, doing my own things. Usually on my days off, because when I'm on my days off, I'm like, I'm not going to work. I'm just going to sit here and be lazy. And then as soon as I like get settled, my brain starts to go into all of these. Like I'm like, oh great, here they go. And so I was getting all this like information about the structure of God and or of like source with us and the structure of humanity with like the higher or the spirit. And it was just a weird the way it started off in my head was I asked a question like, why do we have to consume animals? Like, because I hate having to kill an animal for us to be alive. I hate for animals to have to suffer. I hate for living beings to have to suffer for us to live. But I love my barbacoa tacos and I love my bacon and I love all this other stuff. So there's that conflict, and there's always been that conflict within me. There's always going to be that conflict within me because I don't think I'll ever get to a place where I just give up meat because it's too much of the culture that I come from. But just
Yeah.
finding ways around it is what I try to do best. But I still eat majority like plant-based stuff. But every now and then I will allow myself meat. And I felt bad. I still feel bad about it. And I'm like, Aja, why do we have to eat animals to be here? And so Aja was like, because it's a reflection of like the way that it has to be processed from source. So in other words, if you think of like source or the universe and all of that in its entirety, it's this being. And we refer to that being as like God, but it's a being.
Yeah.
It's a being that exists that sustains all of that. And so this being, if you think of the beginning or of like the moment where consciousness was like I am. That's the being, I am. And then in order for that consciousness to experience anything beyond the I am, it would have to essentially deconstruct itself and engage in various forms and in various perspective and in various ways of being besides just the I am. So the being that we consider to be like God or source said, I want to live, I want to experience, I want to know, I want to feel. I can't just be all that I am. So
Yeah.
it sacrificed itself into its smaller components, into its smaller parts. And in the process of it sacrificing itself to be these smaller components and these smaller pieces, that is us. We are these smaller components, these smaller pieces, right? And so we are a representation of the divinity. We're a representation of source of God here on this planet. What we do here is a reflection of God on this world, vice versa. So God is the consciousness that is the entirety of all things. So when we are praying or we're trying to connect to our higher being, that is essentially what we're doing. We're trying to reassemble ourselves in some sort of like conscious awareness or altered state of awareness that is as close to source, as close to God as possible. We're trying to remember that grander version of ourselves. But that's an impossibility because we still exist as this like component, as this piece. So it isn't until we kind of get reabsorbed into the wholeness of all things that we begin to even get a glimpse of that. But here in the physical world, so in other words, the great being sacrificed itself for us to exist. So we basically materialized, or we became something from those other pieces, from that energy, from that grander form. So we absorbed the grandest form into our singular beingness to become this individual consciousness. Flip it upside down, and you actually have what we experience here, which is all of the smaller components, the smallest components in this physical world or in this matrix. I call it a physical matrix because that's what it is, a physical matrix.
Yeah.
All the smallest components of this physical matrix have to assemble themselves into larger components and into larger components and into larger components. And so when we think of plants, when we think of animals, because everything has a consciousness here, everything is part of consciousness. When we think of plants and animals, they are just the assembly of smaller components or smaller beingness. And so we, in order to survive, we have to absorb these beings. We have to absorb these things, which are plants, which are animals. We have to absorb it. We can't survive without the absorption of another being here in this structure form. But at the same time, when we pass away or when we die, they say we turn to dust or we go back into formless being, which is we actually reassemble consciousness-wise into the larger form. So the visual that I posted, or the visual that I was kind of breaking down all the different parts and aspects of that, and it's so it's so complicated. It wasn't a simple answer. It's not like because you're supposed to. Like that's not what Aja said. Aja was like, well, let me tell you what you need to know, And so it like brought all that information into my head, and I was just like, girl, I'm gonna need to make a graphic because this is a lot. So I got onto Canva and I was starting to make that graphic, and so that's the graphic that I posted on. So I was trying to help people understand what I was given in that piece of information from just asking a simple question: why do I gotta eat an animal to live here? Can't I just just be, or no? So it's the same thing happening on both sides, from spirit down, and then from basic component and basic being up. So it's happening on both sides, but it's happening in the opposite way. So in that picture, there's the infinity symbol, because the infinity symbol just represents the transformation of one area or one side into another. There's a transformation into another, but it's this constant cyclical pattern of transformation. So it's always happening in a cyclical pattern, but it's this infinity. It is infinitely happening with us and God, where this is always going to be this us and God, but we're all the same thing, just in different forms and from different perspectives.
Yeah, I like it. When I saw it, I was like, ooh, I can't wait to talk about this, because I love how you ask those questions.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people don't think that broadly. Or, I mean, most people, let's be real, don't realize that they can ask those types of questions and then get the answers.
Yeah. When I was in like Catholic school, when I was in catechism, Sunday school, I guess, when all the parents went to mass and we were all dumped in the classroom and we were just given something in color or whatever. The teacher always said, like, well, I asked questions, and I remember Noah's Ark. I was like, why? How all them animals fit in that boat? How are you going to get all those animals? Do they have enough supplies? Are they going to be able to make 40? So I asked all these questions, and what about the animals that were not on the boat? What about the ones that species? And then the teacher was like, I think she got tired of me, and she was like, we don't ask those questions. It just, that's the answer, and we have to accept it. It's God's will or whatever. I'm like, that's not right. And so already as a kid, I was like, this doesn't make sense, And as I got older, I just kept asking questions. And the thing about it was, the minute that I said, I'm not going to let y'all tell me how to have a relationship with my God, or with the thing that I look towards as inspiration, my higher self, my spiritual side. I'm not going to let someone tell me how to have that relationship. I'm just going to have that relationship. I'm going to ask that being or that source for the answer. And I got my answers, and I've never stopped getting answers. And so it's important that I always tell people, don't be so stupid. Don't be a sheep. Don't be walking around, I can't know something. I'm not smart enough. Girl, yes, you are smart enough. You can figure it out, but you need to ask the questions, and it'll get delivered to you in the way you can understand it. You may not get the complexity of it. You may not get all these pieces and parts that, I like to get, because I like to understand how something works. And usually something works. I'm spilling the tea, girl. I'm spilling the tea.
You are spilling right now.
Girl, but I never stopped asking questions. And I will never stop asking questions. I'm like, look, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to just let myself be submissive to ignorance. I need to know what the answer is. I need to know what the answer is.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go on. You go on.
I was just going to say, that's how I ended up here. Because when I was about 14, I got kicked out of the catechism class, because I think the question was well, can you just explain how all of that happened? Because Jesus had a body like we have a body.
Yeah.
So is it possible that other people can also be like that?
Yeah.
And it was an old white couple, and they were like, if you don't get out of this classroom asking us these questions, we don't want to answer. And that was the last time I had a faith, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I tried for a long time to sort of get back on the Christianity wheel, but I never really could, because I didn't felt welcome there. You know what I'm saying? Because it was every time I wanted to do what I felt inclined to do, somebody was telling me I was wrong. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I can't keep living like that. And so yesterday, whenever we were having the day, I was like, you know what? I need to get out of here for a minute. So I drove over to the park across the street and I walked a little bit, and they have this like free library that you can go into. And so I was like, well, maybe I can find a cool book. And everything in there was like Christianity, Jesus. And I was like, yes, I love the Lord, but in my way.
Yeah.
So I'm not finding the
Yeah.
book that is going to speak to me. So a song came on, and of course I cried, because I always cry. But then I was like, I just need to talk. I just need to talk to you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And just be connected in that way.
Yeah.
So yes.
I think it's hard because I think people are waking up, but I also think that people are waking up and falling back asleep because you got all these people say, I'm woke, I'm woke. I'm like, just because you bought into the latest conspiracy theory don't mean you woke. That just means you're gullible. That's what that means.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like, you have all these conspiracies going on and going around, and people buy into that so easily, but they're not actually doing the homework. They're not doing the research. And I don't consider myself a Christian. I don't consider myself a Catholic. I don't consider myself any religion. I consider myself that this is the religion of Ferny. Like, this is the belief system that I built up by myself. And it's hard because when you talk about just the idea, when you use the word God and use the word, like, or even bringing Jesus into conversation, by nature, it puts a lot of people off. And
Yeah.
that's something I don't want people to understand, is like, I'm not talking as a Christian. I'm not talking as a follower of the biblical text. Like, I'm not talking to you as that. I'm talking to you as someone who has lived through a very challenging life. And one of the things that has gotten me through it without going fucking insane is the idea or the belief that there is a being that is at the top of the totem pole that I consider to be God. But we call it source, we call it universe, we call it whatever we want to call it. And no religion is ever going to get it right. No person is ever going to get it down exactly how it needs to be. Every religion is like a pair of shoes. If the shoes don't fit, put on another pair and try a new batch out. And some people, they hold on to those shoes when they're ripped up, they're torn apart, they don't fit their feet anymore, their toenails are all crunched up in the shoes, but they're holding on to it because they're so afraid of trying out a new pair that would fit them and be much better suited to them. So you got all these people who are like so attached to religion, so attached to their Christian beliefs and Christian ideas, so attached to these ideas that are actually can be very destructive and toxic, but because they've been conditioned to believe this is the only answer to what you are seeking in life, they are so attached to that they don't even know how to trust in their own intuition, to trust in their own idea of what could potentially be the case, and they don't even believe that they can ask the question. I'm like, ask the fucking question. Like, you're either going to hold the answer, or you're just going to be sitting in silence. But ask the question everything. And there are people who, and because Ed's funny, because my partner, he considers himself to be an atheist. He believes in something, but he doesn't have any answers. So he considers himself to be an atheist because he does not believe that religion is the way to have a better world. And I agree with him. I think religion has created a lot more problems than it has solved. When you think of the Crusades, millions of people were killed because they were witches or because they believed in this or that, or they didn't follow something, ideally. And now you have people being, thrown off roofs because they're gay or they're homosexual in other countries, So have you ever heard of the Rainbow Railroad? The Rainbow Railroad is the name that's given to this organization. It's like the Underground Railroad. So the Underground Railroad, of course, slaves were given an escape route underneath the ground for people who don't know what it is, and they were taken to safety because they were trapped and they were stuck and they couldn't find a way out of the oppression of their masters. So the Rainbow Railroad was coined because in these other countries, like in certain parts of Africa and certain parts of the Middle East, like if you're gay, you will either be imprisoned, severely tortured, or you will be killed. There's videos of them throwing gay people off the roof, etc. So the Rainbow Railroad is an organization where they basically buy the freedom for gay people in other countries who are trying to get the hell out of these countries, who don't have any, they're like refugees. So they're paying for them to leave the country and bringing them over. And Canada is one of the main countries that does a lot of this. And so they called it the Rainbow Railroad, to get these people out of safety because their lives are at risk. And so people can donate to the cause and everything like that. But, in other countries, you can be killed for this or that reason. I mean, some women, if you go, it's funny because I was having a conversation with a friend and they were talking about going to Egypt, and they said you have to be covered up because if you go into certain parts of town, you're not covered up or wearing the hijab or anything like that, immediately you're leaving yourself open to violence or to like actual, being the victim of a crime because
Yeah.
you are not wearing what has been said and told by the ancient text and the biblical text, etc. So I mean, all of that fits in
Hmm.
there. So it's sad, but it's like that's why I'm like, look, men are stupid. People are stupid by nature. Humans, we're stupid. We are stupid, and so it's like it's funny because I was telling him, I was like, it's like almost like I don't want to be a near. No experience, ignorant response. I don't want to be a near because
Mm.
most people, when they are commenting on stuff, especially on social media nowadays, you got people giving their opinions. They're nears. They have no experience to speak of, and they're giving ignorant responses. And so
Mm.
they have nothing to say whatever they're saying. So no, like if you're going to speak on something, make sure you got something to back it up. You better have some receipts because
Right.
you ain't got no experience. You have nothing to say. Nothing to say.
Right. Well, everybody, and like you hear people all the time be like, well, you can really learn such and such off of
Hmm.
YouTube. Yes, you can get some information, but you really need to just be cognizant of where are they getting their information from?
Yeah.
And then is that the only place that you look?
Yeah.
Like
I think
there's
that
more.
I think that if we focus on education and teaching people how to be decent human beings, that just by itself could make the biggest difference in the world.
Right. Right. Extending more love to each other
Yeah.
at the very base of it,
Yeah.
you know? Because like
Hmm.
that's the thing is like people will talk about love and then still be extremely judgmental. It's like you're not doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's not it.
Yeah.
So it's like there's so many layers to it, and it's just like respecting your humanity, but also just like we talked about before, looking at those things that your ego is constructed on that are harmful to your ability to love others.
Hmm. Mm-mm. I think
Mm.
the level of hypocrisy for 2020 has definitely been uh, so obvious and apparent, and just like, okay, girl, like, okay, like, so you just said that, but this is what you did. Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did. I'm like, how is that? Because I'm a badass. I'm a badass. I mean, you're a fucking idiot. Like, no, you're not a badass. You're an idiot. You're ignorant. You need to like line the shit that comes out of your mouth up with what you're doing because you look like a
Right.
damn fool. And everybody else can see that you look like a fool, but but you're acting like you're the shit, and you're
Mm-hmm.
not. And it's
Right.
like, girl, get it to get like, comb your hair, girl, comb your hair. Like
Oh,
it's one of those people, those people, and it's just like,
yeah.
oh, girl, and these people making me crazy.
Well, and like I was gonna like apply for this job, but when I looked more into the lady who is the person, I was like, that just does not align with me.
Mm,
Like it's all money, 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 money. And I was like, that's not where I am going,
yeah.
because like, who knows where the hell we're going? So it's like to align with somebody who's like, money, 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 like she gonna be stressed in a minute. And I'm not trying to be
Mm-hmm.
over there, you know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy right now.
Mm-mm. You know what? Like with people with the jobs, like because back when I used to work at Starbucks and I was the manager, and I had employees, I thought I was the best boss. I thought I was the best boss because
Mm-hmm.
I spoil the shit out of my people. So, but I had employees where like they were like, Ferny, I'm gonna be like, I think I'm ready to leave Starbucks. I'm like, you're fine. I want to leave Starbucks too. So I'm just here because the pay is good for me enough for now, and then I got benefits and I got a mortgage to pay for. But if I could leave, I
Mm-hmm.
could too because our own working together in the store was fine. That was not the issue. The issue was the company and the policies that they were putting into place. And when all that crazy stuff happened in the late 2000s with the market crashing and everything like that, the company started to spend less money. So it started to cut this and that out of what is normally something we were allowed. So us managers, like we had like 2 or 3 like administrative days that we could spend focusing on like the stuff behind the scenes, the paperwork, employees, benefits, taking care of this, taking care of that. And they went from that to you only get 6 hours a week on admin stuff.
Mm.
Everything else has to be, and that includes making a schedule with all these picky bitches who want this day and that day off, So at that point, it was not a fun place for even managers. And I left, like a bunch of managers left Starbucks around that time as well. So I was ready to go. But my partners, they were like, I love you, but I don't want to stay at the company. I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to stay with the company. And so they were like, I'm going to give you a 30-day notice. So they always gave me plenty of time to prepare. But they would leave. I was like, but here's what I want y'all to do. If y'all are leaving, do not walk out of this job with resentment or unresolved anger or unresolved like crap inside of you. Because if you walk away trying to run away from this and run into something, the energy of this experience is going to follow you. Whether I'm there or not, the energy is going to follow you. And people wouldn't listen to me when I said that. And I was like, y'all don't seem to get it. And so many a times I would tell people this. I said, leave and make sure you walk away with a clear conscience around Starbucks.
Yeah.
Inevitably, they would come back after a month or two. Hey, can I come back? Hey, I want to come back. And I was like, no. I was like, the company won't let me hire you back for like about 60 to 90 days. So you're going to have to wait 2 more months. So no, I can't hire you back. There were people who I fired and they came back asking me to give them their job back. And I was like, I love you, but no, because, and I always say like, I can't hire you back because the company won't let me, which I could, but it's like, no, you were not the easiest person to deal with. You got fired for a reason, fool. Yeah. Like, why are you asking me for your job back? You got fired for a reason. So no, I don't think
right.
But it's that, like, don't walk away from shit and go towards, like, don't ever run away from something without getting it resolved or walking away at peace at how it's been left. It doesn't have to be fixed. Just walking away in a peace in your heart that you're okay with however it is, but you're moving forward. Because if you walk away angry and I'm trying to get away from this and I'm trying to move towards, you're going to find it wherever you go, and then it's going to be the same crap all over again.
Right, because usually what that means is that it's you. Like, it's you. So even if you go to a different job, you're still going to be like, oh, I hate when people email me like this.
Right.
It's not going to go away.
Yeah. Well, it's your relationship with money. It's almost like it's the relationship with money. Like the relationship that you have with something is the state of being that you hold with it. So if you have a bad relationship with money, it doesn't matter how much money you make, you will always have the same emotional experience. And there are plenty of people who are probably watching this. I know y'all are watching this, and what y'all may experience is like, you get a promotion or you get a raise or whatever, but it's like nothing has changed. You're still feeling the exact same way about your money, but you have more money now. So it's not that more money needs to be the fix. It's that you need to change your relationship with the money, because it's going to be the same thing over and over again. That's why you have people who they go off and they get a break and they win the lottery, and then within a year or two they're filing for bankruptcy, because it's not the money or amount of money that you have, it's your relationship with it and how that energy works. And if you have a crappy relationship with money, you can get a little more money and gonna make a damn difference, because you're gonna spend just as much then as you were when you didn't have it. So it doesn't matter.
Right. See, for me, I've always been like money hoarder. Like, should I spend that? So like, in order to kind of shift that in myself, I'm like, yes, I will spend it. And I just put something conscious behind it, like, it's okay, it's coming back to me, as opposed to, you know what I mean? And it really has worked. But also, I read this really good book about money, so I like books.
Money is it, girl. Money, and like people's affinity, like the infatuation with money, I think is like it. People get real confused about how they can have a better life. Because I mean, the obvious answer is like, well, if I just had more money, my life would be easier. My life would be better. I'm like, okay, I know plenty of people who got plenty of money. Their lives are no easier. Their lives are no better, And I think that the minute you start having more money flowing in, every cousin or brother or uncle or he start calling you up, hey, how you doing? You know, it's been a while. I've been wanting to call you for a while now, just catch up. You know, it's like, yeah. So I'm taking this trip to, you know, California, and we may not be able to make the full cost of like the hotel. And I'm like, okay. Well, then that means you ain't supposed to be going to California. If you can't afford the trip,
Okay.
then you ain't supposed to go to California. You know, how is that my problem, my responsibility? Because you decide to go to do something that you couldn't afford. Just don't afford it. Just don't afford it.
Hmm. You can't go.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the society though. Is like super, super focused on money. And
Mm,
it's like, just like everything you see on Instagram, all the coaches, they're like, do you want to make $6 million in 5 minutes?
yeah.
And everyone's like, yes, of course. I'm coming right now to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fine. But like, what else? Because even if the money didn't exist, our bodies would still be here. So what
Mm-hmm.
else? What else is there? You know, like you have to have your life based on something else too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like those memes, like when you see those memes on social media where, you know, type 222 and, you know, tomorrow a miracle will happen for you. And I'm just like, okay, type, you know, and then if you're going to have an amazing relationship next week, share this. I'm like, are y'all dumb? Like, are y'all stupid? Like, no, come on. Like, you know, they're just wanting to get y'all to like click like because that increases
Yes.
their clicks and that increases like how often they're going to be seen on social media so that they can increase their the algorithm so that they can get picked. Like y'all ain't getting no miracles, fools. Y'all just the miracle is the person. This person they're gonna get a miracle next tomorrow when they start to earn a little bit of profit because they're gonna get sponsorships because you just clicked this thing because you thought that clicking this meme was gonna give you you know a miracle tomorrow. They didn't know it ain't a miracle tomorrow. Like don't click this. Instead, why don't you go and like read this you know quick easy book on how to like manage your money and budget. You know,
Mm-hmm.
make the envelope system. What is it? That guy Ramsey guy, where
Yes.
you make the envelopes like, okay, this is for my rent, this is for groceries, this is for fun. Always have an envelope for fun, but once you run out of that fun money, that's it. You're done for the month.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually a really helpful way to do it. When
Mm-hmm.
my son was little, that is exactly how I operated. Of course, I had less money. So I
Yeah.
was like, very neatly done.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was okay. Like looking back on that time in my life, I was totally all right. And while I was in it, I was like, oh God, I can't wait to be more successful. But
Yeah.
like I had what I needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is why you go to other countries and like some of the poorest countries in the world, and those people know how to have a good time. Like the best one of the best trips I took was to one of the poorest, which was Mexico. It's when I went to Mexico when I was a teenager, and they don't have money. They don't got no money whatsoever, but they know how to enjoy life and how to get the most that life has to offer. You know, and I think that if we started to really look at like what matters and focus on the things that actually matter, I think that more of us would be happier. You know, it's like don't worry about achieving things because the achievement isn't your worth and value. Your life's work is not the same thing as achieving things in life. Like your life's work is what you do every day, what means something to you, how you're like putting stuff into the universe. That's life's work. Achieving, you know, achieving a degree, achieving this like the status or this like, oh, I'm a doctor now. Like those are yes, that's definitely something that took a lot of work and effort, and by all means, you deserve props for that. But that's not the value that you bring into this world. It's you doing the healing work you're going to be doing every day, where you're trying to give people answers, you're trying to help people heal, you're trying to reduce pain and suffering. That is the life's work you should be focused on, not how much can I make to pay back all these student loans and who do I need to align with? Do I need to get with a group of doctors? Do I need to like that's all stuff. Like I get it. I understand that you got to think about that stuff, but the work is helping the people that you're going to be helping every day with the medical expertise that you now have because
Mm-hmm.
you've got something that these people don't have. You've got skills and awareness that you may that you need to share with them now in some way. So that's life's
You're right.
work. That's life's
Yeah.
work.
Let them know.
Yeah.
Well, you about ready to read these people's
I guess so.
comments?
I guess. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready for readings, y'all? Are y'all ready? They're ready, girl. They're ready. Well, I love you,
Yeah, I
and
see.
yeah. Go
I
ahead.
was going to
Say.
say, I see a couple uncle comments already, so they're ready.
Oh, good, good. I get drunk in Mexico. I get drunk in Mexico. Oh Lord. Mm-mm. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I love you too. Thank you so much for this and
yes.
for, giving me a space to talk about my experience. So,
Yes.
yes, thank you.
And next week we have a special guest because we're going to have a drag queen who's also a life coach and a mindset coach. This is actually
Okay.
Kendall's partner, so he's going to be a guest
Okay.
with us on for our Kai Kai next week.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys next week then.
All right. Bye, Michelle. Say bye, Michelle, y'all.
Bye.
All right, guys, y'all ready? Okay, so I'm ready for y'all. So y'all can go ahead and start posting your questions in the comment section below, and I'll try to get to as many of you as I can. Let me close this up here so it's just me. Cool, cool. All right, actually, let me zoom in for a second because that way y'all can see me. All right, cool, awesome. All right, hey y'all, hello. Okay, so I'm gonna go, so here's how it's gonna work. So this is your first time. Make sure that you're specific with your questions. Just telling me to tell you something, or is there any messages for you, or can I read you, or tell you something about yourself? You're not gonna get me to stop on you because you're making it too complicated and that's going to take too much time. It's too time consuming, y'all. So I need you to be very specific. If we had 30 minutes in a full reading, we'll have no problem going into every category of your life, giving you as many details as I can, telling you all the things that you need to know. We ain't got that time here, y'all. So I need you to be specific with your questions. So if you're going to ask me about your health and wellness, your finances, your career and work, or your relationships, be specific with what you want to know or what you need clarity on. If you're asking about a relationship, just know that your comments are public. So if you're asking about a person, make sure that you're aware of that because I don't want you to get yourself in trouble if your comment goes out there, okay? If you're asking about a loved one in spirit, let me know who you want to connect with and I will try to see if I can get a message for you. That's not like they're in front of me. I don't see them. I don't hear them in my ear. They don't communicate with perfect English or with perfect imperfect sentences. I have to piece it together based off of the pieces that they're going to show me. So whatever thoughts, emotions, memories I start to experience, I'm going to use that to try to figure out where they're going with it or what they may be trying to say, because I can't do the back and forth with y'all here on this platform where I can bring you on as video yet. I'm just going to share what I'm getting, okay? As always, I am not a licensed medical doctor, counselor, attorney, or law enforcement official. For legal medical advice or treatment, please consult a licensed professional. Please note that my statements are personal opinions, not proven facts, so whatever decisions or actions you decide to take in your life, you are 100% responsible and liable for them. And I think that's it. So all right, I'm going to get started here. So I'm not going in any particular order. I'm going to be bouncing around. People, if you're nasty or if you say some nasty stuff, you're never going to get me to give you attention. So you need to learn how to be, not be an asshole. All right, so let's go through this here. Hello, everybody. My skin is glowing. Thank you. It's funny, like part of the reason why it took us so long to get on here is because I was making such a big deal about the way my skin looked on camera. So that's funny that you said that. Good evening, good evening. Hey, Ferny. Hey, Leo. Okay, questions. Past life. Tony Preston. Here's Tony. There's a pretty girl. Why is this small? Look how small that is. Crazy. Oh, let me fix this. Get this right. There we go. All right, Tony Preston, what was I in my past life? Depends on which past life. I feel like you've had about 33 past lives. So it just depends on the past life you're talking about. But I feel like one of the most recent ones, I want to say this was actually right around the I Love Lucy time period, because I keep seeing I Love Lucy in black and white television. So I want to say that this is around that time frame. You were a film, I don't want to say producer because that's the word can throw you off. The person that would take the film, and they would piece it together for the final edit. Like that's what I saw you doing. So I feel like you used to work in the media or entertainment industry, but it was like back in old Hollywood days. So, and you would like take the film and the recordings and you would piece them together and you would create stuff with it. So if you ever want to do any like editing or video stuff in this lifetime, go for it. You've got a past life that's connected there. So you were male in that lifetime as well. AJ, May 1999. I can get it to show up. There we go. Hi, Ferny. My uncle my uncle's birthday is coming up. Does he have any messages for me? Yeah. So as soon as I tune into your uncle's energy, first of all, I keep feeling a little bit of a heat like to the side of my body. So I almost feel like hot on like part of my body. So I don't know if he was having any kind of weird heat issues or he was having some weird where half of his body was acting or feeling a certain way to him because he's making me feel this way. He also keeps acknowledging the number 11. So November or the 11th of a month may be connected. He also keeps referencing the number 26. So the 26th of a month might be connected, or February 6th may also be connected because there's a reference to that as well. He also keeps thank you. There's a dog in spirit with them, so there might be a dog that might be connected to the family. It almost feels like a larger dog, and it's darker in color. It almost reminds me of like a Rockweiler or something that is similar to that. I almost want to say Cujo because I feel like I'm saying Cujo, but there's a large, darker dog that's with him in spirit as well that may have belonged to the family or been connected in some way. He also makes me feel, thank you. Ladybugs are going to be a symbol from him, so he might come around and give you the symbol of a ladybug. He also keeps flickering a light, or actually something that may happen is the light in the room, the overhead light, like the main light, you might see a ladybug land on the light. So something that specific might happen because that's what I'm seeing in my head. So that's why I'm seeing something like that as well. You may also have issues with light as well. So that may be his way of letting you know he's around you. There might be a picture of him where I feel like he's got a drink or he's got something in his hand and he's smiling or he's laughing. So there might be a picture or an image of him that he's showing me in this way, just letting you know that he's okay and that he's happy. Okay. Interesting. Suzanne, let me move this over because this is starting to. I have been told a promotion is coming at work. What's the time frame? I want to say this might be 2.5 months. So I want to say that there is going to be some sort of change to your role or position, and I want to say this might come up in about 2 to 2.5 months time frame. Okay. Susanna Almaguer. Almaguer? I hope I said it correctly. If I didn't, please forgive me. When will I find love? I feel like you are going to. So, first of all, you need to learn to love yourself because I feel like you've got some serious love issues for yourself. So, that's one. I also think that you need to work on healing the relationship energy that you've maintained or sustained with males in your life. And this goes back to childhood. So, the males in your life, you need to work on that because that's also affecting you as well. And I also feel like there will be a potential opportunity for love. July of next year, 2021. So there's an opportunity to get involved with somebody. Here's the thing, you might need to be patient though because they may be coming out of a relationship or they may still be in a relationship. So I'm not here to judge, I'm just here to tell you that there might be that opportunity around July of next year, 2021, and then you may have to decide how you want to handle the situation, okay? Scenic, will I have another baby in the future? Yeah, in about 2 years and 3 months. I feel like there'll be another baby because I'm seeing baby energy around that time. It's between that 2 to 3 year mark. So I want to say in about 2 years, 3 months is when there'll be maybe another baby there. Candace, hey Ferny, I'm wondering if my husband's and I's relationship will get easier and when. I I feel like this is going to be a struggle. I think this is going to continue to be a struggle. It might get a little bit better by the end of next year. So by the end of 2021, going into 2022, it might get a little bit easier. But I feel like there's a four-year mark there. So something changes at the 4-year mark. As of right now, and I'll be honest with you, as of right now, I do not see us staying together like, forever or long term. I feel like in about 4 years or so, y'all may already be done. But I'm not going to tell you that you can't make it work because I do think you can make it work. I also think that y'all may need to pay attention to the people that are having an effect on the relationship that are not in the relationship. In other words, family members, friends. I feel like there may be too much engagement with other people that it may actually be affecting or causing the relationship to have further issues than it needs to have. I also think that y'all need to work on more financial or money related issues in January because I feel like around that time y'all may really hit a rough patch that has to do with the money and finances. Okay, there are other things that y'all need to work on. But I ain't going to bring it up here because this is a public forum. But I think that y'all need to, that's several things you need to work on. But those are some time frames for y'all to understand so y'all can kind of work around it. Svetlana. Hello, I have a question. I am thinking to get a real estate license, currently an employed engineer. Should I proceed with license or come back to engineering? Thank you. I don't think you'll get a real estate license. I think that you'll end up not doing that. I do think that you will go back to engineering, but it may take you about a year and a half to 2 years to find a position or a job that is going to be better for you, that lines up with what you're wanting. I do also think that from now until then, there may be an opportunity to get into a job that has to do with the city or with the local government. So there may be an opportunity that comes up there that you might be able to get into. That may not be something that you stick with too long, like I said, because I feel like inevitably you'll go back into an engineering type thing. The engineering work will also have something to do with the military or with national defense. Okay. Jennifer Cole. My dad passed away last Saturday. Is he coming through and maybe has a message? Yeah. When I'm tuning into dad, so there's three males. So I want to say your dad is the two other males. I also think that there is a grandmother like energy because it feels like it's not mom, but it's like above that. So it might be grandmother. So there's a grandmother energy there as well that's wanting to make themselves known. So here's the thing with dad. First of all, I'm seeing this. So I don't know if you have something you're going to be wearing around your neck or you're going to be wearing on a necklace, or there's a necklace connection to dad, but I'm seeing something there. I also keep feeling, thank you. I also keep seeing, I keep seeing cans. It almost reminds me of like alcohol cans or like drinks because I keep seeing cans there. So I don't know if your dad was a if he was a big drinker, if he liked a certain type of drink and you have done something for him in that way, or he's just smushing cans and that may have been a thing. But I'm seeing cans for some reason. So I'm specifically the silver. So I'm thinking there's something there that I need to latch onto. He also keeps referencing, thank you, the number 13. So I want to say that the 13th of a month may be significant, or January 3rd may be significant, but there's a reference to the 13th. So there's an acknowledgement there as well. He also keeps, thank you. There are two cats that are in spirit with him. So I don't know if you had cats or he had cats, but there are two cats in spirit. He also is acknowledging three dogs. So there might be three dogs also in spirit as well, but there's a reference to these animals. He also keeps referencing, thank you. He says he feels so much better and that thank you, he felt pressure right here in the center of his chest, but I feel like it might be slightly lower than the heart, like the area around the heart or the area below the heart. I wonder if he had fluid around his heart because he's showing me like I feel like I want to go around it, but it's almost like I'm going around it. But there might have been fluid buildup in his chest or fluid around this area here. He also keeps referencing, thank you. I'm smelling smoke. So I don't know if your dad was a smoker or if there was some sort of a it's either the dad or the grandfather because I'm smelling smoke. So I want to say one of them was definitely a smoker. Dad is also acknowledging, thank you. He's referencing the name T, like Timothy or Tim or Timmy or Tommy or Thomas. There's a T connection somehow that he's wanting to make reference to. That doesn't mean it's someone that's passed. It could mean that there's someone here and he just wants to say hi to them. But there's a reference to this T name as well because he's acknowledging that as well. Butterflies are going to be connected to dad. So keep an eye out for butterflies. He's okay. He makes me feel like it was time for him to go and that this is how it needed to be. So he's just acknowledging that it's okay. All right. Marco, what do I need to know for this month? I'm going back to California at the end of the month, and I would like some guidance on what I need to do. It's interesting because at some point you're going to move there. So I feel like at some point you either may move to California or to Arizona because I keep seeing that territory or area. No, you know what? I think it's California, but I want to go closer to the border because I feel like I'm going back and forth between California and Mexico. So I feel like there's an area there that you might actually end up moving to or having to spend more time at. But I feel like there's a situation there. I also think that you are going to form a business relationship or some sort of a business type endeavor with another person that may have a connection to California. And at some point, there may be like a joint endeavor. And it has to do with, it has to do with So what I'm seeing, kind of want to describe it. Like, sometimes people, if they want to grow or evolve or develop, they will get some sort of coach or a guide to help them through the process. I feel like you're going to create some sort of program or some sort of thing that's already based on something that exists for you. You're going to create something new like this, and it's going to be almost like you being a guide, like a living spirit guide. It's what I want to call you, a living spirit guide. And you're going to create this program, and this program will bring in people where they are going to basically pay money for going through the experience, and you're going to walk them through this entire experience that they need to go through. And you would be doing this on a regular basis. So I feel like there's going to be something like that that you start to get into, but I feel like this is something that may be formed or end up being set up in California, because I feel like you're going to be moving within 2 years. So there's a big change that's going to come up there as well. I also think that um, there may be some legal effects or some legalities that come up in California, where either be careful driving, be careful because I just don't want you to get a ticket or have to deal with some legal issues that are just not even. I don't think it's going to be a big thing, but I think it's just a frustration. So I'm thinking it's something like if I were driving and I got a ticket, or if I was supposed to apply for this and instead I got this instead, and I have to like change this legally on paper. There's something there that may come up in a legal way that you might have to address when you go there. Okay. Chris, hi Ferny, what is the deal with my bedroom that I cannot sleep in there? I have never had a good feeling in there. Yeah, because some of this is your energy. So believe it or not, I feel like you are intuitive and empathic, and people who are intuitive and empathic, who are very sensitive, we don't always know how to cope or deal with our emotional self. We don't know always how to deal with stuff. And so if we don't deal with stuff regularly, we start to put out a lot of waves of energy because we can't hold it within ourselves. We can't hold it within this physical structure. And so what happens is there's kind of like an overflow or an overspill. And so if someone's got a lot of stress and anxiety, a lot of worries, a lot of stuff like that, and they aren't dealing with it, it tends to flow out of them once they're not able to cope with any more of it. It starts to flow out. It's almost like an overspill. And it starts to saturate the environment or the space that they're in. I feel like in that room, someone that lived there before or may have been in that area before, there's a lot of overspill that may have kind of accumulated in that space. I also feel like you at times have had the same experience where you are expressing but not even realizing what you're doing, and it's just saturating the space. You need to smudge the space. You need to rearrange the furniture. I would actually suggest you look at like a chart. What is it called? Where you make sure that everything's aligned properly. It's that art form where like people want to make sure that feng shui. You want to feng shui the room, because I feel like the way the energy is flowing in isn't really conducive to like positive experiences. And then I think you need to smudge it, and then I think you need to fill the room, rearrange stuff, and then I think you need to fill the space with reminders of positive or lighter energy. And I think that will help to shift the energy of the space, so that it's easier. I also feel like it might be darker than usual in there. There's like a feeling of darkness in there, so you might need to lighten it up somehow or bring some more light into the room. Okay. Mhm. Love you too, Desiree. Darlene Trapp. Do I have a spirit guide? If so, do I know them? Yeah, everybody has a spirit guide. So everybody who exists has a spirit guide. And the spirit guide is kind of like our guidance counselor before we come to life. They just kind of work out our plan with us. And then we come down here, we forget that we're gods or that we're larger, the bigger source. And we just assume the personality that we're in. And so our guide is the little voice in our head that's always chirping away, telling us like, you might want to think about locking that door, or you might want to think about talking to that person, or you may need to not skip your homework this time. Like that's that voice, and their job is not to fix our problems for us or to prevent us from going through difficulties. Their job is to make sure that we stay on course, or we stick to as closely as possible to the plan that we set for ourselves. So the experiences that we're going to have, we didn't just come into life with a list of positive experiences. We're not here to have positive experiences. We're here to have human experiences. That is the combination of both positive and negative. So we are here to have both positive and negative experiences because those experiences are going to allow us on a soul level to evolve and to grow and to expand and to understand the greatness that is Source or God, because that is what God is, the entirety of everything. And so it's, in order for you to be everything, you have to be everything. So we always want to just grow closer and assume more of that form. But your guide's name is Lala. I think it's a female, Lala. And so she's been with you from the very beginning of your incarnation. So she was there when you were being conceived, getting you prepped and ready, and then she'll be there when you're done. So it isn't someone that you know, because guides are usually like spirits that we've already formed lifetime pacts with, or pacts where we kind of help each other out on different instances, and they have specialties or areas of specialties that they can help us out with as well. So Angie GW. Hi, Ferny. Wondering if there is any messages for my family from my mom. Yes. So immediately, I keep seeing. I'm reminded of like those quilts that they make for like people who have cancer or who are like cancer awareness or breast cancer, etc. I'm reminded of those. So I don't know if there's a special blanket or a special quilt. Or some sort of like covering that's like a blanket that is connected to your mom that she's trying to highlight or bring to my attention. She also keeps acknowledging, because she showed me the Golden Girls. Usually whenever I see the Golden Girls, it usually means someone having white hair, or there's a connection to the names. The names would be Dorothy, Rose, Blanche, so Sophia. So there might be a connection to one of those names, or to the names of the women that played those parts. But there's a reference there because she's acknowledging either that, or she just loved watching the Golden Girls and she's like watching it with you. But there's a reference there. She also keeps Thick You. I don't know if there is a nickname like Nugget, like a little nugget, or there's a thing about a nugget, but I'm seeing that, but I'm also seeing a small animal. So I'm trying to figure out if she's talking about an animal that's got an association with a nickname like that, or there's something about a small animal. She's just trying to let me know that the animal is there. I want to say it's probably a dog though, because I feel like I'm looking at a dog. She also keeps referencing, thank you. Thank you. She's acknowledging celebrating her more than once. So I don't know if y'all have had other celebratory things for her since her passing, but she's almost making me aware that there's more than one. So it wasn't just the original memorial, the first memorial. She's making me feel like there's other celebratory things that she's wanting to make reference to or acknowledge as well. There's also a picture of her, and I don't know if she's wearing like a brown outfit in the picture, or the picture she's just like, instead of it being like sepia, it's more brown colored, but there's a picture of her because she's making reference to that. She also keeps, thank you, she also keeps referencing, it's funny because I feel like I want to laugh with her and I feel comedic in a way, and I'm seeing I Have Lucy, so I feel like there's a vibe around like being funny or being comedic or just having a good laugh, and I feel like I can hear her laughing, so she's making a reference to that as well. She's also showing me a ring, so there might be a ring that's special or that's connected to her. There actually may be 4, so there may be 4 rings that are significant or that are connected to her. Okay, she's okay, she's all right. Hey Betty. Barrett. Hi Ferny, for the free reading question, should I continue with mediumship as an offer for my tarot business or stick with tarot? I hope you're well. Thank you. I actually think you should continue to stick with mediumship, but I also think that you need to restructure the way you're doing it, because I feel that you're limiting yourself in what you're trying to do when it comes to the mediumship portion. And I think sometimes when I think of tarot, I feel that tarot translates pretty well when it comes to psychic sensing or sensing the future or discerning stuff. When it comes to mediumship, it's a little disjointed, or it doesn't really, for me and from what I've experienced, it just doesn't feel like it properly what is the word? It doesn't really that's the word, compliment. I don't feel like it properly complements it. So I don't think that mediumship is so unique in that there's a lot more emotional human experience that you have to be connected to, and there's only so much human experience you can connect to with the cards, because I feel like the cards have more to do with symbolism and information and patterns, etc. When it comes to connecting with media with a spirit, you have to engage your memory centers, you have to engage your human emotional centers, and it's kind of hard for that to translate over from the cards to. So what I would say to you is, I would say I would still continue with mediumship, but I would try to approach it from a different perspective. So I would ask the person, if they can bring a picture of the person that you're going to be talking to, or if it's online, a picture of the person, just to help you get into that energy and then begin to share whatever comes forward. I think that would help you. So I would start it with like a tarot, so you can give yourself a chance to warm up and get used to sharing information with the person in the way that you're used to, and then I would take it over into a different form and then do the mediumship in a different way. Okay. Robin Sellers, do you know what my next line of work I do next? Yes, I think it has to do with the grocery chains. I don't think, I'm not thinking it's like actually working in a grocery store. It might have more to do with the administrative, or like with the distribution of like the grocery chains. So I feel like there's something around that that's probably going to be, it's going to come up, or will be an opportunity for you, because I keep seeing that in my mind. Hmm. Shiva. Hey Ferny, a fellow churchgoer recently passed, relatively young, and last night I had a dream of the person, and it seems they were telling how they passed. Do you pick up on anything? So here's the thing with the person. I feel the individual is pointing to their chest. Um, Hold on, because there's more people here. There are 3 females and 5 males in spirit. I'm going to assume that the churchgoer is one of those individuals. I want to talk to a male first, though, because I keep seeing this male. So I want to. There's a. You know what? There's a male here who wants to be communicated, or wants to be acknowledged. This is a younger male. I don't know if this is the churchgoer or if this is somebody else, but this younger male is acknowledging. First of all, I want to put them between the age of like early 20s to maybe mid 30s. I want to put them kind of in that area or in that time frame. I also feel like they're pointing to themselves. So I want to say that this individual either committed suicide or they may have caused their own passing. I also feel like this person, people may have actually gotten together to honor this person at a different kind of function, or a different kind of like memorial service than a traditional one. In other words, like traditionally, like family get together, there's a memorial service, and that's it, right? Like, but when you have like a school get together and they honor this person, that's a different type of memorial service. If people get together at a park and they release lanterns in the air, that's a different type of memorial service. I feel like this individual is acknowledging that they had a different kind of memorial service besides the first one, or the one that would have been with the family, and they're making me feel like they were honored in some way that feels connected to it might actually have to do with the school or university, or like the scholastic kind of vibe, because I feel like it's like the assembly. So there's a feeling of an assembly coming together and acknowledging that, but they are acknowledging that they may have either caused their own passing or committed suicide, because they did something that triggered their passing, or they did something that was that affected them in a way that they couldn't survive. I want to say this might actually have to do with taking something or ingesting something. So there may be a feeling of ingesting or taking something that added or amplified whatever was going on, and then I feel like they passed. So I do think that the heart would have been part of that process. I also think that people in the beginning, when they pass, might have said it was one thing because they didn't want to talk about what actually happened, or it was I won't say diagnosed, but it was misassessed, and I feel like the assertion that it was one thing may have actually been mistaken or may have not been correct at first. So there may be some questions around that with this male. I don't know who this male is to you, if this is a churchgoer or not, but I want you to like dig into your head or dig into the people around you, because this male is wanting to make sure that they let everybody know that they're okay and they're grateful for what was done in their memory. They're also talking about someone donating money to a cause as well. So there's a reference there also. Also, the third might be significant. So like the third of a month or the month January, March, or March might be significant. Okay. Mm-hmm. Hilda. My boyfriend had a dream that he was in prison. What does this mean? Is something going to change with us? Any messages from my spirit guides? The dream of your boyfriend being in prison, I don't think he's actually going to go to prison or he's going to go to jail. I think that he feels in his life right now. So sometimes when people have been in a relationship or they have an intense connection, they will form a psychic bond. And even though you may not know exactly what is going on in somebody's life, you may start to feel what is going on in someone's life, and you may see it in symbolism in a dream state. And I never take dreams literally, because usually when I try to take these dreams literally, it's more symbolic when it comes to other people. When it comes to myself, it can be more literal, but that's just because they know how I am, and like I'm like, just make it clear, like stop playing these symbol games with me, people. So that's how they are with me. But with other people, it's usually symbolism that I usually tend to encounter there. I think that your boyfriend is feeling trapped and stuck in his life, and he doesn't know what to do to get out of that, and he feels like he's not gonna go anywhere with his life right now. So he's feeling a little stuck. So you might need to talk to him or see what he needs to do to help him come up with a plan to start moving things along, because he may just feel stuck or trapped in a situation. It could also be that he feels trapped in your relationship, but I'm not thinking that's what this is. I'm thinking this has more to do with his like circumstances in his life. Okay. Crazy Judith, one. Hey, Ferny, how long is going to take me to find the home I want to purchase? I feel like it's going to take you about 2 years. 2 years. And because you're not going to settle for just anything, and I do think that you have a very specific vision. So I think it'll take you about 2 years. So I want to say by early 2022, you're buying your home. Okay, so it's not exactly 2 years, it's less than 2 years, but I want to kind of give it up to 2 years, where I feel like it may take that long. And now I know you may be like, no, I need to find a house now, or I need to be somewhere now. Like, I get what you're saying, but I feel like it's going to take a while. Okay. Bounce around here because I'm getting close to my deadline, my time. Reclaiming I'm going to be reclaiming my time in a few minutes, y'all. So that's what I'm saying. Reclaiming my time. Nicole, hey, been in a super funk and can't seem to crawl out of this hole. Any advice on how to elevate my vibrations and how to free me from these chains? Yeah, two things, Nicole. First of all, I want you to check your two things. I want to check your hormones. I want you to check your iron levels, because I feel like there's a physiological effect there's something physiologically happening with you, which you might need to look into. When I say your hormones, we have different glands in the body that regulate hormones, and the thyroid is one of them. Look into your hormones, specifically your thyroid, and also check your iron levels. That's one. Two, I think that you probably need to just accept what is, because I feel like you're trying to fight the reality that you're facing. You're trying to fight the circumstances that are happening around you. You're trying to fight what is. If you will just accept what is, because you're not going to be able to experience life right now in the way that you're used to or how you've had to in the past. If you could just accept where you are right now and then do the best you can to make yourself feel a little better. Don't aim for like star-based, don't aim for the sky and the stars with your vibration. Just try to find something that will make you feel a little bit better. That's it. Just something that will make you feel a little bit better, and then you can start working your way back past that. But check your hormones, check your thyroid, check your iron levels. Make sure, just embrace what is going on right now. start to bring back into your everyday experience some of the things you used to do when things were fine, or when you felt nurtured or you felt supported by life. So for me, like I always, sometimes I watch Star Trek all day, makes me feel better. Sometimes I'll make a big breakfast like my mom used to make, makes me feel better. Sometimes I will draw and sketch like I used to as a kid because it makes me feel better. I incorporate some things that make me feel like myself again. And I think you're not feeling like yourself, but because you're so conditioned, you've conditioned yourself to feel a certain way vibrationally. Right now, if that's not possible, try to reincorporate some of your old patterns that made you feel like yourself, and then just try to reach for anything that makes you feel a little bit better. And check your hormones and your iron, okay? Jordan Taylor, when will Rebecca start feeling better? Is there anything she can do to speed up her recovery time? I feel like vitamin D is going to be important, so I feel like any vitamin Ds would be beneficial because I feel like it might help to speed up some of the recovery. I also think that reducing some of the, like with the food, some of it where it's just really gentle and it's not overworking the digestive system will also help with like healing as well. Because if you are eating something that is really not good for you, your body has to put a lot of energy to try to digest that and work through that. So anything that's easier for the body to consume is, I think, will be helpful. Vitamin D will be helpful. I also think that if you would like to try Reiki, Reiki has been known to improve and amplify healing, and they have actually tested that in several hospitals. So there's some studies out there that say so. So I would look into some Reiki healing as well. There might be some practitioners around you, but look for someone who has a good reputation, okay? Mary. Hey, Mary. Hi, Ferny. Any messages for me from my father or brother in spirit, please? Yes. I keep seeing a J, so I don't know if one of them has a J name. At first, I heard Jose, and then I saw J. So I feel like there's a J or a Jose connection that they might be trying to reference or wanting to acknowledge. They also think, and now I'm seeing Junior. So I also think that one of them may be connected to a Junior, or there's a Junior reference as well. They're also acknowledging, thank you. With your dad, I think this is with your dad, because they're making me feel like the timing of their passing was right around the same time somebody else may have had something happen, or there may have been another date of significance that would be there. But it doesn't feel like celebratory. It actually feels like it might be another sad date. So it might be like two people who passed away on the same date of a month, but it's in different years or in different months, or two people that pass in the same month, but in different years. There's something about this like dual date that they're making reference to. And it may not actually have to do with both of them. It may just have to do with one of them, but there's a reference there. I also keep thank you, birds and stray cats are going to be a connection from them, because I'm seeing that as well. I'm also seeing something drawn on my skin. So I want to say that one of them, there's a tattoo associated with one of them. If it's not you having the tattoo, someone may have gotten a tattoo for one of them, because I'm almost seeing like a tattoo or something on my arm that they're making reference to, or skin. So I'm seeing that as well. There are two babies in spirit. So there were two children that were miscarried, lost, or terminated that are also in spirit with them as well. They're also showing me seeing deer. I don't know if one of them, first I saw Bambi and the Disney movie, and then I'm seeing like hunting. So I don't know if one of them enjoyed hunting, or there's something about hunting for deer, or something about a deer like bone, or a deer like antlers, but there's something about this thing that they're wanting to bring up. So they're making a reference or acknowledging, and almost like having to move something over or rearrange something so that something can fit. I hope that makes sense to you. So there's almost a reference for that as well. Your dad was ready to go. So he's making me feel like it was time for him to go, and he was ready to go. Your brother is pointing to himself. So your brother might have done some things that contributed to his passing, or he may have neglected himself in some way. Okay. All right, guys, I am done. So I am wishing y'all lots of love, lots of positivity. I will be back on tomorrow on Instagram for our study group for for Course in Miracles, and also for Many Lives, Many Masters. And then I'll be back on Instagram on Wednesday for our weekly Wednesday live video chats as well. So, all right, guys, I will see you there. Until then, I hope you have a good weekend. Okay.